Welcome back, friends, to another reading for the collective, and happy solstice. It's Ross, your favorite spiritual strategist and modern mystic, and I wanted to tune into the energy today for the solstice and offer a reading for the collective. While I was tuning into the energy, one of the symbols or scenes that I was visioning was the spinning top from the movie Inception. And if you've seen that, then you know what that's about. And if you haven't, spoilers for a 15-ish year old movie. 15 came out in 2010. You do the math. This is spirituality. We're not concerned with things like math. When watch me talk about numerology later, but the idea was that at the end of the movie, again, spoilers, there's a top and it is spinning. And this is to signify whether the main character is in a dream or in reality. And before the top topples, the camera cuts to black, and we don't know if the main character is dreaming or if they are awake. So that was what came through. I'm excited to see if that's relevant to the cards that show up or if that's relevant to you tuning in. But let's get into it. Begin as we always do by taking 3 intentional breaths, breathing in, letting it go with a sigh. 2 more of those, breathing in and breathing out. And last time, breathing in and breathing out. You might hear my housemate's cat meowing in the background, or cats might be relevant for you. I did see a cat this morning and had cats in my dreams, so take that if it resonates. Whoops. I Ching, settle down. All right. So, what is the solstice message for the collective? What is the message for the solstice of those who have found this video? And if you have found this video, hello. If you're coming back, welcome back. If you're new here, I offer readings for the collective. That's a lot. Every Tuesday and Thursday. And like I said, this was something that was drawing me in, a reading for the collective to honor the solstice and honor where we are. And this is reminiscent of a reading that we did a few days ago, or it might have been a few weeks ago at this point. Time is a construct anyway. And much like that reading, it feels like, let me just sit with this for a second here. So the solstice is all about going inward, retreating, restructuring, letting those roots grow, and searching for that warmth. So, one of the ways that we can look at this is the past season and the season that is coming up, or we can say, this is what we're planting, this is what will be available for us in the spring. And I think we just want to flip the cards and see what's happening. So we have Page of Swords, Student Energy, 2 of Pentacles reversed. That one I saw in my vision as well. 3 of Swords, 3 of Wands reversed, and 6 of Cups. So this is where you've been, or maybe a recent past, or how you're viewing going into the solstice. So I think Page of Swords coming out as the first card is a great card to begin with. This is a card, like I said, of student, of the beginner. Pages can also represent messages. And given that swords represent the element of air and thinking and thoughts, maybe that message is something that's coming through. Maybe that message is something that's coming through from your internal landscape, from your inner child that is finally feeling like they're able to speak and that you're able to listen and hear what they're trying to say. Mm. Two of Pentacles reversed. Twos are all about unions and relationships, and there is this idea of the infinity symbol here, symbolized by this character juggling the pentacles. And yeah, I think it's that idea of that it's always going to be a continuous thing. There's always going to be that heartbreak, that mourning almost of maybe who you were and who you're becoming. And the resistance to exploring, we've talked about how the Three of Wands is this character who is standing at the edge of the known world and is either sending out ships to explore or these ships are coming back with new knowledge and information. It's this idea of it could be a literal exploration or a more internal exploration. And given the swords and the cups here ending, it's that idea of uh, it's that idea of exploring the internal, of sending your consciousness into those spaces and places that may have been blocked off by the heartbreak. And as we're seeing these all laid out here, I think that's what that's kind of representing as far as where you are or the state or quality that you find yourself in as you're entering the solstice. You're well on your way. You know what's up. You've done a lot of the work and you've kind of found that balance, that idea that we have to be of the world, but how do we be of the world when we know, when we have that inner knowing, capital K knowing, that we're more than a body? And there's that idea of kind of wanting to block that. We can see reversals as an energy that's blocked. Maybe it is this idea of being less concerned with going inward and doing that inner excavation because maybe you're now more focused on learning and thinking. And just this idea, I see these as kind of the theme here as far as resisting that balance, and maybe the resistance creates the heartbreak or the heartbreak creates the resistance to finding that balance. And you're understanding the idea of things not fitting anymore, whether that be your job, your relationships. And with the two, that's always an idea about relationships. And even with the Six of Cups here, the idea of relationships, relationship with your inner child, inner self, and your conscious 3D material self. So resisting that relationship creates the heartbreak, and the heartbreak also creates the resistance or the blockages to wanting to do that further exploration. But because you are a smart person, because you have done the work and continue to do the work, you understand that this is kind of transitory, and it will eventually lead to yourself offering yourself those flowers, the knowledge, the wisdom, the peace that you weren't able to receive in those moments where your heart was broken. So that's where I'm seeing you now. That's the state that you're entering the solstice. And so this we can look at as the message of what's going to come out of the solstice, or maybe patterns that will be moving through in the solstice. Got the Fool, Five of Wands, Five of Pentacles, the Magician reversed, and the Seven of Pentacles. So there's a lot of pentacle energy, a lot of fives. I said I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about numerology. Well, not a lot. We got a five reversed and a five upright. So let me just take a moment here and look at what we got here. This is interesting. Just seeing these two characters, red and yellow, both reversed. That's interesting. Whoa, check this out. We got upright, upright, reversed, reversed, upright, upright, reversed, reversed, upright, upright. And that kind of speaks to what I was saying about the idea of what this guy is showing us, that it is a continual dance. It's this idea of ebb and flow, light and dark, and light and dark, like the Fred Again song, light, dark, light again. I'll link that. There might be a message in there for you. So, yeah, this is kind of the idea of here we go again. We're leaping into the unknown. We are leaping into the longest night of the year as the light returns. And we've got the light right here. The sun is shining and it's going to start warming things up. Mm, Let me just take a moment here and kind of reflect on this idea of what the solstice wants to teach us or what we want to learn in this lesson or in this season, excuse me. Wands are constantly struggling, not because they necessarily enjoy uh, this struggle, but just because they have all of that fire energy that they need to get it out somewhere. But it is reversed. So we can see this as maybe that struggle energy is with ourself, with our inner landscape, or the idea that the healing, the journey isn't as linear as we think it should be. It's not showing up in the way that we think it should. But rest assured that there will be the rewards. There will be the bounty growing from the work that we do. But we have to get through that. And whew, yeah, as we're losing things or realigning ourselves with the things that are more true for us, it can feel like we are alone outside in the cold. And if we keep our head down, we aren't able to see the glow of magic that surrounds us. Now, these two are outside of a church, so this isn't so much the idea of looking toward systems and structures that represent faith. It's in this case, I would say more about looking toward the faith behind the structures. So the creator of your understanding is always there. You just have to look up and notice it. And with the prevalence of pentacles, we got one, two, three, that's informing this reverse magician. It's this idea of being too focused in the material, in the sense of physical reality. You're blocked off from the more spiritual realms because you're too focused on how things are looking in the reality, in the 3D. And it's kind of blocking your inner magician from allowing themselves to access that magic, that transmutative power that was kind of uh, exemplified here. The transmutation of being able to offer your inner child or your inner parts the love, the acceptance, the space that they needed, that they weren't able to get at the time. And it's not necessarily to say that it's going to be easy or hard, but ending with the Seven of Pentacles suggests that the hard work will pay off. This is a person who has toiled in the fields and is seeing uh, the fruits of their labor, so to speak. So it's this idea of the constant ebb and flow of things, of that desire to go inward, to do the restructuring, and then to come out and see, okay, I am now operating from a different paradigm internally, a different internal energy. How is that showing up in the real world? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to keep fighting with reality as I see it? Am I supposed to just keep my head down and pretend like I am not that inner magician? You are at choice always to behave as however you want to. It's this idea that the toil is what you make of it. If you imagine it's a slog and that you're always going to be struggling, then that is what you'll perceive. However, if you're able to understand the kind of light, dark, light again aspect of it, then you understand that the growth, the boons, so to speak, are inevitable. And it's just a matter of time. And how it might not be the time that you think it will take, but trust that it is coming. And so, like we always do, I want to end this with a card from Hafiz. And speaking of the solstice, in Iran, there is a tradition called Yalda night. And on Yalda night, it's usually around the time of the solstice. Families gather in an elder's house and they read from a book of poetry by Hafiz. Hafiz was a Sufi poet who lived in the 1500s, I want to say. And so this tradition of Yalda night is folks gathering around and reading from a book of poetry by Hafiz called the Divan. And in that reading, there is supposed to be some nugget of truth or some mm, divine, uh, it's supposed to act as an oracle, a divinatory tool within this reading. So it's quite appropriate that we are pulling a Hafiz card for today. So, what's the solstice message from Hafiz that the folks need that is related to this reading or is related to where they are on their journey? What wants to come out to either summarize this reading or to add a little extra oomph to it? Tell us your wisdom, Hafiz. What you got for us today? Whoops. Let's try that again. Where to go? Yes, okay. Ha! 10, move forward. And we have those two fives. This looks like the, what's it called? The Sanctum Sanctorum from Doctor Strange. And we've got these ships here, which is very reminiscent. You probably can't see it, but if you're familiar with the Pamela Coleman Smith illustrations, you can kind of see the ships there, those uh, messengers either going out to explore or coming back. But this card is saying move forward. Let's see what we got here. Move forward. Tell me, dear, when are you not a river, ever moving forward, needing to empty into the sky, into God? The swirls and eddies of the mind are easy to get caught up in, and soon our whole life can feel stuck. Loosen your rigid thoughts. Let go of the need to be right or even to be understood. God understands you better than you understand yourself. Let that be enough for now and move forward into that peace like a river. And I would go even a step further. I think this wonderfully sums up this reading, but also the idea of the swirls and eddies of the mind, light, dark, light again. Or I guess dark, light, dark again, if we're going with reversal. But that idea of ebb and flow, in and out, up and down, and just kind of letting go of that pattern being bad or wrong or anything, and just understanding that your choice point is always in your perception. If you're saying, "Oh, woe is me, why is it happening? Why does this keep happening?" then you're going to keep getting stuck in that narrative. You're going to keep your head down and be lost in the cold. But if you're able to look up, if you're able to remember that God understands you, that you are the magician, and that that's not broken, and that you're not separate from your creator, however you define them, then the bounty is going to come. I don't want to say it's going to come quicker, because it's going to come regardless, but you'll be more aligned to receive it when it comes, and you'll be able to notice it when it comes. And so that feels complete, friends. So I wanted to thank you for stopping by and remind you that I do videos every Tuesday and Thursday of readings for the collective. If you found value in this, you are always welcome to leave a loving donation in the links below. They are always appreciated, but never anticipated. And as always, I wish you nothing but peace, love, and happiness from this day forward. Take care.